Here's your brick.
It's actually 5:03. Welcome to our meeting tonight, as you can see. We're going to get right to it with the manifest and the folders, and we'll get right back to you. That's just not right. Could be failure.
Who's in charge?
If you need more info, Mike.
But you were gonna have equipment failure when I met you this morning.
Oh, banging along the road?
I don't know how you drive around with that plow on, I really don't.
Kind of par for the course with the situation.
Roads are rough, I can't imagine that thing bouncing over the front.
Well, the straight blades bounce. The V-plows, not so much. A lot better.
Yeah, but they hit down on the, if they're V, they hit on the road pretty easy.
Yeah. Mine usually doesn't.
Do you need another pen?
I got it. It is kind of like a black one. They're cold. There we go.
She said he's there. January. So he's been there since January. That's a long time for her. Yeah. Yeah. Which actually means it's not too bad. So did you find some of the old opponents? For Mike?
About 100.
Oh, okay. Oh, you have to see Gary and Diane.
Them look over these, yeah.
Hey.
Video of the perfect acrobats when the person try to move their dog.
Chuck cleans up pretty good. I know Grace has something to do with that.
Always.
What do you think, your bath night?
I'm just thinking that she's got great taste.
By all means, join the crowd. Amazing. they did. So they do it. Yeah, they do it full quarter, which I don't know. Second quarter. I remember too. It's Friday off. I think I'm making 60.
Got a couple of things on this.
Unfortunately, this is the 7 days stay. Yes, here's like a
Good?
Wait, one of the recycling places, like to see.
Well, I'm gonna go oh, Venice, but I'm looking, Minneapolis,
Florida or Italy.
no, not Florida. Well,
carry your bags.
Yeah. Exactly. I don't think so. I should.
That's, we're just going back.
Yep. A significant birthday.
So should we call them out? So warm up.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good, thanks.
Absolutely.
Was that your birthday or happy? Yeah, but I wasn't on that.
There's,
Thank you very much, Lois.
And with a 0 or
I'm
5?
there to offer support. Yeah, but that's okay.
You know.
They bid on the nursing home,
Wow.
and they weren't with that.
Details.
Versus this one.
Oh. Yeah.
I worked with Teresa and Claudia for a few questions that came up on
Tomorrow we go into what's
stuff.
Right.
break.
Oh, okay.
That's a good one. Do they have transport?
No. Nothing right here at airport.
Yeah, do they have that available for review tonight or something?
Oh, I got an email, you want me to
That
forward it
was
to you?
interesting.
Yeah, I'll look through it, could be.
Guest at the county hotel came in for their high appointment. Jumper
Wow.
with their accessory.
Thank you.
Sure.
Also known as the sheriff's deputy.
These minutes, John? They're wrong. Those are the non-public. This is the one where we met with at iWatch.
Yeah, I wasn't involved in it.
No.
Oh,
But she's got me listed
okay.
there with just Mike and myself.
Cross it up.
We'll have our,
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is kind of interesting for family to ask these questions, you know, so that they know what the person is they can talk.
you guys don't want this, right?
Did you have any facts?
You don't want this, right, Larry?
What is it? What is it?
It's a,
Oh, roll
just,
files?
Yes.
yeah, it's just some legislative updates and
Like gas
yeah,
tax.
that, yeah. I was looking at some of that
And
stuff.
I believe I came up with all of them, and then what I had to do was like think about the chronological order.
Yeah. Did you remember the names?
No, this wasn't with her, I was just filling it out. This is so that people with the date program can,
Oh, that's good.
I didn't think you were
you know
gonna.
what I mean? Hopefully they can find something that maybe they can talk to, like remember.
Yeah. Is she in person?
3 weeks and one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She doesn't make any sense.
It's an outside wall.
Like if you say,
No,
well,
it's in that, it's just.
what do you think of my scarf?
Oh,
You know, he said that you need to go here and boop, 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 boop. Might be the response. You know, the next day she might go,
This stuff,
you know, just whatever she likes, she might get, I don't like it, and then she's off to something else. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes the response makes sense with the question, and sometimes not.
this stuff's,
Yeah.
it seals it, it's just like, it's almost like taff. You know, it's like, it's to it. I mean, it's not forever. It's just a whole building tonight.
yeah, like the stories.
There's a plumber in there, he's coming back.
They say it used to come back as a small child.
They can't. They want that link. They bought that property in Chicago. Wow. Yeah, this September will be 70 years since my grandparents bought that property.
Yeah, change some of that because what they had originally was
The very
1,000 feet.
Is that when it was all?
But I had them find it so that we didn't have the distance and occasionally go outside that down there and pick some wells.
People
That was pretty much the only difference on
off
the
the
original.
side of Leonard. Contrast on the Ossipee side.
I've got more than that, I talked to the.
Yeah, I'll let you talk.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
There were some houses on Rabbit Road,
But I don't want to go too
close, farther up the road. We're the very last property on Leonard Road.
Yeah.
We were having this,
Yeah.
the channel between them, they
Yeah,
shot back
yeah.
or faced Broad Day or whatever. But yeah.
Only award
49.
49.
Wow.
September 1949. I think it was September. Yeah, it was September.
Oh, they figured out where.
Well, there was never a mortgage. Same
Hmm.
Good, so much money to spend on
Sounds
the place
like
this summer,
that's-
and then they wouldn't work on it in the summer until they exhausted all the money they had provided them in stock,
Hmm.
which is why they
Very
didn't
cool.
build the house until I think they're done the foundation, done, mind you, done the foundation by hand with shovels. My grandfather, and my grandmother, done the foundation.
Kind of water, just fire suppression? No, it's regular concrete. That's why we have the infrared machines in it.
Yeah.
Builds
Yeah.
themselves, they make the concrete themselves, they pour it all
Beams
themselves.
or whatever, there's no cleans the
Regular
water.
concrete
Oh,
truck.
really?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
And it works,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
It's
The
just,
first three songs, it would have been some
it's like this, like this one. Kills the cockatoo.
houses built in 52 back channel. That's those. And that's the foundation in 51.
Hmm.
My grandfather probably spent the summer of 1950 figuring out where he was going to flood. 51
Yeah.
began pouring the foundation in
Yeah.
52.
Okay, I'm ready to leave.
He spent the first three summers there, they lived in the tent.
Huh. Yeah.
And my father's not one of those big canvas, like,
Mhm.
ones that would actually get like rooms in it, big.
Yeah.
And,
That contract all right with you?
put it up so well
All right.
that they didn't take it down in the winter.
Hmm.
And it would stand all winter even with the snow on it,
Yeah.
And then in the spring, we would just sort of.
Yeah.
Hold on that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what?
He died.
You said you're gonna vote on that.
Yeah, oh, yeah, 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 for sure.
Summer, cool.
Okay, right? Hey, can we call Stan and put it right?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody, for being so patient. So we're just gonna go right into it. Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to accept the manifest at $59,464.63.
Second.
Any discussion on it? All in favor? Make a motion to accept the selectmen's minutes of February 19th.
I got a couple of things with the, under my name, it has, Mr. Cahalane reviewed the timeline of events for soil contamination. I think this is water contamination. And then, let's see, the fourth line down there, Mr. Cahalane, extends testing to 1,250 feet. Actually, we don't know that we're gonna need to do that. So I would probably strike that line.
What else?
What's that, John?
What else?
And the next line down, DES permit, and then it has the number and the project number. It has DES suggests possible contamination is from Class B foam used on a fire at the transfer station last year. Fire department reported they only use Class A foam. I think we should just take all of that out because we didn't use Class B foam. It's just a possibility of what a contaminant could have been from, so the contamination could have been from. So I'd suggest striking those two sentences. And that's all I have.
Okay. Make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Second that.
Any more discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, make a motion to accept the non-public minutes of February 19th.
You get them right there?
I,
Just make the correction that, you weren't there, John,
Yeah.
and motion to leave non-public was made by Mike.
What is it, I'm sorry?
John wasn't at the non-public at Granite Recovery,
Okay,
with just
but-
Mike and myself, and just
Okay.
make the motion to leave non-public by Mike.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Second.
Any more discussion?
nope.
No. Okay. Also,
All in favor?
all in favor?
Aye. I missed an amendment.
And also in the signature folder were an intent to cut and 5 current use applications. And also we have a letter of agreement with HEB to handle the water issue. And I don't know if Mike wants, well, I know Mike's gonna talk about it later for a little bit. I make a motion, did everyone get to read the contract?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, make a motion to accept it.
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that go there. All right. And the action folder, we had 2 requests to speak, 1 request to speak at the meeting. Blair Foltz is here. And we did review Dig and Doze's work. Okay. Okay. All right. Selectmen's comments and reports. Lenny, what do you got?
I'll just throw this out there. Last week we voted to bring back the old plan of having the department heads come in and speak. What do you think about going back to allowing public comment without making an appointment?
Well, I think we're trying it out. I mean, it's not written in stone. I mean, it's only the second week we've done it. So, you know, it's still on the table to do that, but I think right now we should just keep it as it is and tame it down. Me personally, I'm just one person, but I think we should just keep it as is. People know what they have to do and, you know, get put on the agenda.
Well, I agree. I'd like to keep it in place for a while longer. It seemed like things were getting a little sidetracked and a little rancorous. I'd like to just try and, as well as sometimes we need to research some of the, you know, the things that we're going to be asked, so it's nice to see them coming. And sometimes I think this would help avoid bringing into the discussion contractors and vendors and stuff that we seem to always follow into the rut of talking about by name. I think it's just a good habit to try and clean it up for a little bit and see. I'd be happy to revisit it later.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I'd like to give it a little bit of,
Yeah.
just to take a break from that.
Okay. What else you got, Glenn?
That's it right now.
All right. Mike, I know you got plenty.
Yeah, I have a few things. Absentee ballot monitoring on the 11th, March 11th, from 3 to 5. Deanna asked me if I'd be here. I imagine you're going to be working and Lenny's on the ballot, so I agreed to do that. I'd like to suggest that we move the election day, the 12th, Board of Selectmen's meeting to the Wednesday, the 13th. This is also supported by Deanna, Town Clerk, Tax Collector. Because of the people being here for signing up for absentee ballots and so forth, it seems to have made an overlap on a few occasions in the past. So if nobody has a problem with going to Wednesday versus a Monday.
Yeah? That's fine.
Fine with that.
Okay.
You got that, Chris?
Is that going on the website?
Yeah.
Yep. Solid waste trainings, there were 2 I'm going to 2 this year I've signed up for. One of them to stay ahead of the extra cost for getting keeping my certification current, and another one that's after that in May, and that's specifically to do with landfills, so I signed up for that. Another point, and since Mark is in the room, these solid waste trainings, Mark, you can actually sign up for them in advance. That is to say, I'm going for March to finish, to make sure I don't lapse in April, but I'm going to May, and that'll cover me for the next year. So, okay, I didn't know if you guys knew that.
Yeah, we do it every year.
I thought you guys were going after
No,
that.
we already did it.
Okay, all right. We did get a breakdown from NRRA, which is our recycler and Northeast Resource Recovery Association. And they, on their breakdown, we have glass in there for the first time, I guess, so it does reflect some savings. I would like to see us get that roof overhang, whatever you want to call it, over that dumpster to keep the weight down, but that looks like it's a nice little savings on cost. And I don't know if you guys must have gotten the, well, Chuck Fuller provided from the library, the reports, the finances, so it looks like we're going to be getting back about $2,300 thereabouts. $2,289.17, so that'll be something coming back to the.
On top of the money you already had retained, there was another $6,000 you'd already retained.
Right, from the salaries, right, that never left, but this did, so that'll be coming back to the general fund. And also, since Chuck is here, I read your operating guidelines again on the historic town hall project. And I don't know if you guys had gotten through that or not. There's a few question areas that I came up with, some things to be talked through. So perhaps we can go over that sometime in a work session or something before it goes out to Chuck and whoever. I think Karen Payne helped with this as well.
Karen should be done, maybe.
Okay, so I'd like to consider doing that, getting together so we can cover some questions in that. What do you want to do? I don't know, I think right now I'd rather get through town meeting maybe, and because we're gonna need another work session, I think, for this board to go through the warrant articles. So I think we're all going to probably divvy up who's going to speak to them. So that one's something we probably wanna schedule sooner than later. I know I'm not going to be available on Monday, it's coming. But this could be done maybe before a meeting.
Yeah, we can do that, yeah.
Well, actually, yeah. Yeah, next week's meeting?
Yeah, sure.
All right, come in for 4, divvy that up.
Yeah.
All right, you got that, Chris? Early
Be a
start?
work session Tuesday?
Yep. And we have the HEB, well, actually, it bounced into candidates night is tomorrow night, 27th at 6 o'clock right here. Tonight, 6:30 Civic Awards. Other than that, I was going to touch on that contract we just elected to sign. It does allow for us to step out of the constraints of the 1,000-foot distance if we needed to get more wells in there for testing. I did talk to DES again yesterday. The individual who wrote the letter, Jamie O'Rourke, is not in the office for a week. But I did talk to, it gets referred to Paul Rydell. I talked to Paul because we've gotten an aerial breakdown on where the wells would essentially be located, you know, and I had him do some concentric rings so that it goes out at 1,200 feet, 1,250, I'm sorry, 1,500 in the original 1,000. And it looks like down towards Snow Road, we end up with like 5 wells that are down gradient from the landfill. And I was told that that will be sufficient for testing this go round. If something shows up, we probably have to expand that. And Ms. Foltz as well is in there. So we have some neat pictures, Blair. You'd probably be interested in those, Blair. And I think that's all I need to touch on about that. We do have a very technical water quality report that I'd probably have to sit with Google and look through to get an understanding of it, or some scientist to explain it all. So we have the $1,000 receptor survey. We'll get to that as soon as we can get some notification letters out. I did have a communication late in the day with the gentleman from HEB who's handling this, Dan, and he was unable to put together a notification letter for us for tonight's meeting. We should have that for next week, and I hope for him to ask him to get it to us ahead of time so we can review it. So hopefully we can decide next week that it's good to go and get that out, and it'll have all the scheduling information for people and notifying folks that are in the receptor survey area. And that's all I have for tonight.
Did HEB furnish them in pictures? The 1,000-foot?
The attachment HEB sent me on an email was this one, and then with the magic of computers, I bumped them up so we got some better shots of the area and some breakdowns that are really just who's in that specifically, so we can hopefully be making sure we're going to get everyone that should be contacted, as well as they're working on a tax map version. So we had CAI Cartographics send them the tax maps that they could manipulate to do again the area that we captured. So hopefully that'll add to this. And these are here if anybody wants to look at those. And again, that's all I had for this evening.
All right, Lenny, you have any old stuff?
Nope.
Mike, do you have it?
No.
That's just as soon. Blair, would it be okay if we bumped you and we got Brian because there's an ambulance outside? Is that okay? Okay.
Yeah, I forgot your brick, so I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I still have it on my desk. I'm bringing it back next week.
Oh, okay.
His what? His brick?
His brick.
The original brick?
He lent it to me and I
Did it help you?
It did.
See that? The magic of that little
It
thing?
helped me 1,000%.
Ah, there you go.
Wow.
All right, Brian, you're up.
Hey,
Good to see
I've
you.
seen some new faces. It's been a while since I've been here.
Yeah.
My point tonight was quite brief and simple, and I appreciate your time. After the end of 2013, it was a little rocky road with Lifestar and so forth, a lot of allegations, accusations. My understanding from talking to some of the fire chiefs locally that there were some things said that were misunderstandings of how things went down for Lifestar. And I was just letting people know that should they have any questions, the town's involved in the 6-town deal for 2020, I believe you guys are renewing, that I would gladly share the documentation from the New Hampshire Bureau of EMS and so forth, and Memorial Hospital to say that any accusation allegations that were made, investigations found us clear of anything, much less the patient contact issues and the involvement, which again, everything was unfounded. Also saying that we never lost our ability to do 911 through the state. Memorial Hospital did decide that during the investigation they would like to basically reduce the opportunity for anything else to go worse. So they did say, please limit it just to transfer work during that time back in 2013, early 2014 when we got cleared. We got a copy of the email and so forth like that saying we're clear to go back out and do 911 and do all things we always did, which we came back and won the Effingham contract that year actually. But just the same, I just want to let people know that Lifestar is doing great. We've bounced, we started off with like 4 or 5 vehicles, back then. Now we're up to 19, 20 vehicles, 20 plus full-time employees, 2 or 3 stations. We're doing fantastic. So basically, it's all summed up is please keep us in mind because we're not too ambitious. We don't need the 6 towns, but we wanted to make sure Effingham was our the first people we talked to, because they've been the best for us. And we'd like to see if we can get the opportunity in the future to take care of the residents and visitors of Effingham again.
And I appreciate that, and I think you were great for the town.
And we try.
It's still gonna be great.
No.
So, Randy, do you have anything for Brian?
Oh, we talked before.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, you
Brian,
guys,
where,
go ahead, no, go ahead.
Brian, where, you've got several locations now?
We've got our West Hospital location, which we recently purchased. So now we're taxpayers officially. We have our location in Albany, where our corporate office and training center and everything like that is. And then, you know, I'm sure that when the time comes, similar to the last time I took care of Effingham, we had opened up other stations, and right now the place over in Espie Corner seems to be available again. So in the interest of doing what we do, we would probably seek out that as well for optimizing response times and stuff like that. So
That's great. That's awesome.
Where do you house 19 vehicles then?
well, we have 4 ambulances, 3 of them that are online, the brand new one with all the toys and all the nice expensive gizmos are out here. But we have 4 ambulances, 3 are online. Our oldest one, our 2006, is currently in Ossipee, and the other 3 in Albany. We're trying to outfit and update that truck so that it's also bariatric. So we'll be able to take care of that, rely on the state's cache of equipment that's difficult to get at any point, based on manpower issues for services that carry those. We also have the only bariatric wheelchair van in the state as well, so that part of our business is doing well. We have 9 wheelchair vans, 4 cars, and looking at buying a new Intercept supervisor vehicle, hopefully next week or 2. We've got some talks going on for new state-of-the-art auto pulses. In fact, that's all signed and waiting on delivery of those CPR machines that do CPR for people, you know, bouncing down the road and stuff like that. So, yeah, but most of the vehicles stay outside, you know, the cars and wheelchair vans. But the ambulances obviously have to be requirements to stay indoors.
There's no ambulances with 4-wheel drives like that, right?
Well, they have them.
Well, I know
Not
they
us.
exist, but
Yeah, no,
I don't think our present provider or you have.
There's not. I can't think of who would be the closest. Lisbon, Life Squad, Franconia, maybe those 2 are the closest that I know of that have 4-wheel drive.
Berlin EMS has 1 unit that is 4-wheel drive.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They are in an area of which there's a lot of high terrain
But I think that was
incidents.
an older model.
It is, yep.
Quite the increase for cost anyways, but that's the ones I can think of. Nothing we've considered, you know, back when we were looking for the 6 towns way back when, you know, we had considered it then, but need the money for that one. But anyways, again, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
And like I said, we're always available. I don't know if you have our new number. We got rid of that 539 number. And our dispatch center is 447-1210.
That's dispatch, right?
Yeah, that'll get you my office, ladies. And for most, some of you already have my cell phone number, so
It's the same, right?
unchanged for many years. So if anybody has questions at all, feel free to give us a holler, and I can send you whatever documentation you feel you need, and just give you a tour, whatever you need.
Great.
Thanks, Brian.
Right. Thank you again.
Brian, thanks for coming. Really appreciate it.
See you later.
Take care. I do have his number. All right.
So first, I need to clarify, because I didn't watch the government oversight, but several people called me and never said that Lenny told me not to drink my water, and I hear that went onto the video. What I said when I came to the office is 3 scientists told me if I were pregnant not to drink my water, and that's what I told in the office. So just to get that going, I'm sharing some water with you from my well. See who wants to drink it. You're drinking horse water. And that was, I asked 4 scientists about drinking my well. The issue with my well, I used to have a 60-foot well. I'm pouring myself a glass and see who's going to drink it.
That's vodka.
My well used to be 60 feet deep, so from a water perspective, it was in line with the leachate from the dump. But my house is higher up. My well next door at the cottage that I rent is 100 feet deep, so a little lower. My well, which I spent thousands of dollars on a few years ago, is now 420 feet deep. But when they put my well in, they had to frack it. And so one of the scientists I talked to said the problem with the dump wells is it's not in stratified drift aquifer, it's in bedrock. So that moves around, they don't have as much understanding. If it were sand and gravel, it goes down, plume kind of follows where it's being pumped out. Bedrock we don't know so much about. I'm not a hydrogeologist, but the 3 people I talked to said, don't drink bottled water because that also has leaching from it. But 2 of the scientists, I said to them, if your wife were pregnant or your 2-year-old son was running around and wanted a glass of water, would you let them drink it before you tested it? One person said he would drink my water over bottled water. 2 of the other scientists said, no, we wouldn't let our wives drink this water. So I came home, I drank my water. Because I cannot live in fear of it, and I'm older. The woman who lives next door is 26. I was concerned that the selectmen did not come and knock on my door and tell me this information. I felt it was my duty to go and tell her, because she's of childbearing years, you should probably consider buying bottled water or getting water elsewhere until it's tested. As a landlord, I felt that was my responsibility to her. I felt hurt and concerned that you guys did not come and knock on my door and say, hey, we just found this out, when I found out that you had that letter from January. It's not your fault, it's just the dump. It's all over the state. So I want to know what the process is, and it sounds like you've already started talking to HEP.
Well, I guess since I've kind of
Ran with it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I'm doing. First off, as far as going knocking on doors, myself, I wouldn't do that because I wouldn't know what to tell anybody about this. I'm not a scientist, I'm not up to speed on it, so the last thing I want to do is scare everybody over something I don't even understand at this point. Certainly from what I hear about it, it's in just about everything and anything in the house. And
Was.
Well,
They
I
phased
don't-
it out a little while ago.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is what I see. I don't even know that. I just
10 years ago.
I went on Google and looked up this stuff, and it was saying that it's in all kinds of different things. So that you probably would have been exposed more of it to it in your own home than to this. Don't know. So until we really understood the problem and had a handle with some experts that we hired and retained to address this in conjunction with the Department of Environmental Services. Myself, personally, I thought it would be a little presumptuous to go around and bang on doors. So that said, I had hoped that we would have had a notification letter to look at today, and unfortunately that didn't get done in time. So the next step will be to get that letter in, as I guess you weren't here when I talked about it earlier. So yeah, we're waiting to get that in from HEB, in which case we're hoping to see it before our next meeting so that we can review it, amend it, whatever we need to do, and then approve it at our next meeting and get that out. With any luck, we can just have the addresses of everybody that it needs to go to by that time as well.
So do you have a sense of when they're going to come and do, because the sampling is really complicated.
I don't know when the well company, that would be another stage, because the letters would need to go out, so everybody would have to get informed of that. But the HEB engineering will be scheduling with Eastern Analytical, I believe is who we're going to be using to do that. So I'm sure Eastern would be the ones to have a timeline, and there again, couldn't speak to that because I just don't know what they'll be able to do. I believe that Jamie O'Rourke at DES alluded to there's 2 labs presently available to test this. So they're in California.
Connecticut and Woods Hole are the 2 that sample.
Sample or test?
Test.
Okay, because
Run through the labs.
I've got results here that seem to be from California. But there again, I don't know how many labs are out there. This was just said to me. So there's not many I guess that's the overriding point, was that there's not a lot of them. There'll probably be more because this is all over the country apparently. So therefore, test results could potentially take longer than we would like. I don't know, in case there's a backlog. I don't know how many people are dealing with this. So as for the scheduling, again, that'll be forthcoming through once we get that letter out, and that should have the information on scheduling. So we do have a 90-day window to get the test results back to DES. It's not our intention to drag feet on that, but essentially the world spins at a certain speed, and as much as you may want to make it go faster or slower, I don't think we're going to have a lot of options with that. The engineering company's going to do what they do. The well testing company will follow up. So it's just a matter of taking the appropriate steps. As you say, this has been in the ground or in our homes for quite some time. So
Right, it's been it's been in products since the 50s, but it is starting to leach out now because it was designed as a chemical to never break down in water or grease or anything. So what's happening is the stuff in the ground is breaking down, and the PFAs are going out into the finding water to move. So everyone's seeing it because of the 20-year time period in the ground.
And what I was told, and I don't know if this is correct, but I was told that till about 3 years ago, it couldn't be tested for at these levels,
Right.
the parts per trillion. So,
But does everyone know that New Hampshire's level is 70, but other states it's 40, it's 10. So New Hampshire has a really high level anyway, but Vermont it's 40, and I think New Jersey is 10. So even though it's parts per trillion, it's a nasty chemical.
well, it's
So,
the EPA that I believe New Hampshire's going at with the
Right.
EPA standard.
But other states are more stringent. So it's
There's
it's
a
just
bill
to
in front of the legislature
say-
right now to make it
change it,
more, so
yeah.
who's to say? But DES isn't supporting it, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's all of what, I don't think anybody in this room truly
So I can
knows.
expect to hear from the people that want me to be home so I can come in and get my samples.
Well, we will be getting you a letter out.
Yeah, we're getting a letter.
And we won't be able to get that to you until after next week's meeting, because it's, again, people are working on what is going in. I provided some information on some content. They have kind of a standardized form letter for notification, so they're tweaking that. And again, I was a little, wasn't thrilled that it wasn't here tonight, but then again, we didn't have the signed copy in their hands, so, you know, I
They're
could
the
see their
same-
point.
They're the same firm that's dealing with Tamworth?
They are.
Okay.
Yep.
My concern is, I'm like the only person that there's like hardly any people that are in the zone. I think Lenny is, I think you are kind of in the zone.
He's
It's
outside of
like by
1,500
or
feet.
something? 1,500.
No, he's
Okay.
over at 1,500. So I think when you go up the hill on Snow Road, there might be potentially one property in there, maybe two, or maybe they're just outside. It was hard to tell on the,
Yeah.
but downhill, there were what appears to be your two properties, and two more on the other side of,
Right.
and I don't think anybody's in that little building on the corner.
No,
So,
no one's in there.
yeah, for a long time. And there's another one that looks like it's up on 153 on the corner of this little hill, and they tuck
Yep.
back. I think that's a
That's
dam.
in it too. Yeah.
So there's 5, and it's nice that that one's over there, because like you say, in bedrock, the water travels
Yeah.
a different way. It follows where it can flow. So those 5 wells will be the original testing data, and once that's determined, we'll go from there. And essentially, if it hasn't got there at that point, to those wells, then we'll be on our September round of testing at the transfer station. I imagine there'll be ongoing monitoring. I don't know that they're going to require anything above that. And I haven't heard what any mitigation plans are for places. I don't know what they're doing or planning to do for places with a higher concentration, so.
Yeah, so when I talked to the DES guy, he said that the plan on that was, yes, it would be ongoing monitoring. So if the levels continue, every year, my well's gonna have to be sampled. And if it doesn't show in my well, great. If it shows in my well, the town has to provide filtering system and.
Well, it's an interesting thing.
Breakdown of stuff.
As far as what will happen for testing, right now, it's a September test, it'll be annually. And that's what I was left to believe, that that's what the town's obligation will be going forward, unless for some reason we're instructed to do something different. I hadn't been told that your wells would be tested annually at that point, so that's news to me. I'm not saying it's not true, I just hadn't heard it yet. The other interesting thing to me is our federal government allowed the manufacturer of all these things. The manufacturer's
whole different
manufacturer.
subject.
Yeah,
But
let's stay on track.
who's paying
why,
is
you
is
know,
the interesting
We can
thing.
have we should have public comment, as Lynn said, because we don't have to go off track. That's a different subject. So with my well, my issue of explaining the fracking and the depth is, right now, it's not in it. It might take a little while. That's gonna take a long time to leach out the entire landfill, and we're really lucky. We only buried there for a few years. Yes, it was burned before, but it's more of a landfill thing. So even if I don't know what my test results were, maybe they're gonna be okay, great. But a year from now, maybe they're not, because I'm so deep that it's sucking, we don't know how it's moving. Maybe it goes out, but the point that the DS folks are saying, no, if the wells continue to be contaminated at the dump, there would still be concern for people's wells because they don't know enough about how the bedrock aquifer is moving. So
It's gonna continue to break down and leach, you would imagine, and I don't know at what point in time that would stop or recede, I don't know.
probably only if it's dug up.
So, to that end, we're gonna do the testing, comply with what DES asks from us, and just keep following this thing through, and,
So within the
we don't
next
have
month,
any-
my well will be tested.
I'm not gonna give you absolute timelines, but I certainly hope so. And I'm figuring that I was born in the 50s, and all this stuff's been killing me for years, so I'll drink your water.
Yeah, yeah, but you're not 27, you know.
Did you
that's
notice the
thing.
What are you talking about?
Did you notice the plug?
Next month. I'm sorry, John.
Did you notice the plug?
Yeah, well,
She's always got that little,
it's got the
gotta
promotional.
throw that little promo in there.
Do we get to keep these?
Yeah, you do.
Wow,
Of course you do.
nice.
Yeah,
Oh, and here we
it's to our annual meeting.
See, I was waiting for
Yeah,
that.
more, here you go.
That,
I'm already signed up.
Here you go.
that wasn't listed on public comment, Claire. You're getting off subject.
Okay, good job.
Did you ever hear that documentary going around now? It's called The Devil We Know. It
That's
does-
tomorrow night. Thank you for bringing that up. If people want to go see that, that's
yeah,
in Wakefield tomorrow
In
night.
Wakefield.
That's a great, do you remember what time
The
it is?
6th,
6?
they're gonna be in Conway at the library.
It's great. Thank you for bringing that up.
What is the devil you know?
So it's about this issue?
Yeah, it's a documentary on, from when DuPont lied about the contaminants, and Netflix, I think, is airing.
Contamination of
right?
groundwater
Yeah,
from the
From
DuPont.
the PFAs and
from
PFOAs.
All this
yeah.
Teflon stuff,
Mhm.
yeah.
They show the documentary, and then they have a rap session after.
Why do you get to talk about it? You wouldn't let me talk.
Yeah, no, that's great that you're mentioning that. So 6 o'clock tomorrow? Oh, it's in Wakefield. Tomorrow night.
They think it's
Or you think it's Conway tomorrow night?
5:30 in Wakefield tomorrow at the
Okay.
church.
Yeah.
And then it's at 6 in Conway.
Okay, great. Thank you for bringing that up. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Does that satisfy your?
Kinda.
Oh, we can do in a
I'm
moment.
tempted to go do the test and send you the bill, because I kind of want to know.
Well,
I've had
actually,
to
if you do
force
the
myself-
test, it doesn't do us any good because they have to do the test.
Well, I would contract with them. You can't do it yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't even have deodorant on. You can't have shampoo. I mean, it's really strict. How you have to wear like a hazmat suit to do the test because it's parts per trillion. So I'm not qualified to test, but I would hire them to come if they would come.
So the test results are pretty intense, and it does have the all the various rules and regulations they reference that they have to comply with, so it isn't just go put a cup under the spigot.
No, you
No,
can't
not
have a
anymore.
Teflon screw in your faucet head.
That's
You
petroleum.
can't have little kids nearby that have like baby powder on. I mean, it's really incredible how to do this sampling. So,
Well, hopefully we told you what you needed to know, at least to the extent
To
that
this
we
point.
can.
thank you.
All right. Len, you got anything?
Nope.
What about you?
No, I'm good.
I'm good. All right. Lenny?
Somebody else wanna do it?
You've been doing it for so many, every meeting, so go for it,
Doesn't matter
brother.
to me.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A second. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, did you want to, did she want to say anything?
No,
Okay.
Oh. Is Mark here for a reason? Did you drag him in here? Is it his night to shine?
Oh, he wants pizza this week.
Oh, food, all right. Okay.
You heard me, he's amazing.
He's here for the food.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for coming, everyone.
I don't think you took the vote. That's why you don't have to vote. You didn't take the vote to adjourn. You don't
All in
have-
favor?
Aye.